All right, now I have got a head scratcher for you guys today. Look at the bladder tank back here. They have absolutely buried this thing in a corner of copper plumbing. Absolutely insane. So this house is on a slab. That is where the water line comes in, and it goes up and it goes through a maze of plumbing. But we're not here because the tank's bad. We're not here because the pump's bad. We're here because we are having an electrical disconnection somewhere in the system. And I want to basically take y'all along with me. I'm going to show you everything that I've already discovered to where maybe you can give me your opinion in the comments. Now, we've got a 60 amp pull disconnect here for the water heater. A well pump should be on a very similar style system. Now, the way this was hooked up with a flip switch right here. Now, a flip switch for a well pump, a 240 volts flip switch, is typically 20 amps. When we came here 4 weeks ago, the breaker that feeds this was a double pole 30, which any well pump should be a double pole 20, because the switch now becomes smaller in the equation. So when the customer turned on the breaker, we heard the switch sizzling. So I was like, okay, it's not kicking the breaker. So I figured maybe the switch was bad. So I went ahead, pulled the switch out of the wall, and we wire nutted the nuts together. Then when he turned the breaker on, we noticed that the light upstairs was dimming, and it just, something didn't set right with me. So let's go ahead and go into the panel box. So what I'm basically doing, I'm walking you through everything that I did 4 weeks ago when I was here. So when I journeyed in here to the panel box, the original well pump breaker, which is here, was a double 30, just like this one here. I went ahead and changed it to a double 20 because the 30 was not tripping. Now, if you turn this on right now, it will probably hum for about 8 seconds and trip off. I don't want to do it. There's no need to do that for the sake of the video. We've already watched it do it about 4 times. Now, from this panel box all the way in there to that closet where we were at is number 10 wire. Because we're on a slab, that number 10 wire goes up and into the attic. It goes all the way over, and I've entered the attic over here. That we had to pull the boat out the last time we were here so I could access the attic. So I went in the attic to make sure maybe, you know, no mice or no squirrel or no nothing like that chewed the wire. But it comes all the way over from that area, comes out here to the edge of this wall, and then it goes down to the outside where they have an LB outside. Now I'm going to take you out there and show you what we got. Now, if anybody's curious, I've got the well pump disconnected out at the well. The wires that go out to the well are not connected to the wires that come out of the well. Does that make any sense? So like there's a wire nut connection where the wire from the trench from the house that feeds the well, where it connects to the well, those are disconnected. So the well pump is not tripping the breaker. Something else is. Now, what he said was he had a group of individuals here. They were pressure washing this side of the house, and when they got back here to this panel you see behind me, that's when the breaker tripped, that's when the water quit, and that's when they stopped pressure washing. So let's show you. The internet provider recently put this in about 3 or 4 months ago. This here is the LB that brings in the power to the well pump. If we come out here, that conduit there comes all the way out here and it exits about right here. The wire actually goes underneath this unit here, and it is below the ground here. We dug this up already. I think they filled it back in. I'll have to expose it later and show you. But the crazy thing is, and this is where it gets really crazy, when you open up this LB, it's number 8. It's 8-2 gray wire. But when you go in there to the closet where the bladder tank is, it's number 10 wire. When you go to the panel box, it's number 10 wire. When I go in the attic, it goes through the closet, across the attic in number 10, comes all the way out here to the even number 10, as far as I could reach, because the pitch on the house, I couldn't get, I don't know, I could get about 2 foot from the edge of that wall right there, it's still number 10. So somewhere between here, down this wall, to this box, it makes a transition from number 8 to number 10. But when you open this up, number 8 comes in this way, and it goes into the wall this way. You don't see a connection made between the two wires. This is what's absolutely blowing my mind. And that means something is tripping the breaker. Like, okay, my next thought was, if they trenched in a electric line or a internet phone cable, whatever, CenturyLink, maybe somewhere along the line, they contacted the wire that feeds the well pump. So what I did, I took my underground cable locator and I found the spot in the yard way up there where they crisscrossed. And because I had marked the CenturyLink wire and I had marked the well pump wire. Where I found that they crossed at, we dug it up, and the internet cable was only like 3 to 4 inches below the ground. I dug another 12 inches below that, and I still didn't find the wire to the well pump. So we know that they did not hit those two during that like cross intersection up there next to that telephone pole. So we ruled that out of the equation. Now, the well pump wire, if you look at the flags, let's let the photo, here we go. So if you look at the flags, right, that is the CenturyLink internet, and it carries along down the edge of the property. Now, if we come here, right where I'm standing, and go this way, this is the wire that feeds the well pump that goes to the LB. Goes right around here. You found it? Oh, you did find it. Wow, okay. So see, this is the wire that was marked here in the yard. So this goes out to the well pump. And we got a weak signal here, so that's why it's circled. So we're gonna dig this up to see, maybe there was a break there, maybe there's a repair there, don't know. But that's gonna be the next thing that we attack before we start cutting this system up. We're gonna dig from the edge of this circle to basically where we located it here. And then we're gonna see, basically we got a weak signal. So when we traced it, the signal was weak, so we wonder why. Maybe it's here. We were here for 4 hours trying to figure this out. And it's kind of sketchy when you know a system is shorting out, but it won't pop the breaker. And you can hear it sizzling the switch. And you can see the lights dimming in the house. It makes you nervous because you don't want to be turning a wire in a wall into, you know, a light bulb. You don't want to be the reason why a house catches on fire. So that's why I shrunk down the breaker size to the normal breaker size to where that wouldn't happen anymore. And thank God it started tripping after that. So I'm gonna get to work, and once I find some stuff, I'll show you some more stuff. But me and Mike we're gonna dig now and try and figure this out. It's a head scratcher. So when we said we got a weak signal and we're gonna dig it up out here where we had it circled, look what we found. Underground repair. Yep. Underground repair. There's your issue. All right. Well, I get to give the exciting news to the customer. See the electrical tape?
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad we kept digging.
Yeah.
I'm glad we kept digging. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to dig this up, and then I'll formulate a game plan just to make sure. I'll cut it, and then I'll reconnect it with like a new dry connection or whatever, just to make sure that is the actual issue. And then we'll figure out whether we want to just put 2 posts here above the ground, or do we want to dig this back, put a box on the post there, and then we'd end up having to trench a new line all the way to the house and do all that. But if this is the issue, I think we could probably come up with a game plan that doesn't destroy a large portion of your property, you know.
Okay.
Because if this truly is the drain field out here, we don't want to be disturbing that.
Well, the only thing I was thinking,
It's crazy they put the power line over top of it.
right, if we end up,
All right, well, we have exposed the wire for about 15 feet on that direction. We come here and we look, we found the water line down here, which is good. Now let's come over here. See this right here? That is where it blew it out. It melted it. Basically moisture got in it and shorted the system out. And that was the wire splice. I can kind of see the end of the stay-con right there. But yep, that's where our bad spot is. So we're gonna try to dig this up a little bit more on this side. I'm gonna cut it and try to see as much as this I can save. And then I'm gonna do just a quick little jumper here to make sure the system operates correctly before we come up with a permanent solution. Okay, well, we had to come back here to the office. Luckily the job's only like 10 miles down the road. All of my splice kits are for 10 and 12 wire, not number 8. So I didn't have any way of connecting the wires together. So the customer doesn't want to put a weatherproof box above the ground per my recommendation. He wants to splice it and bury it again. So I adamantly tried to steer him away from that, and we came up with a happy medium of doing what he wants, and we're going to bury it in one of my meter boxes. That way it doesn't disturb the flow of his land, and it's not an eyesore in his yard. I was going to put it on a 4x4 post, put it in a weatherproof box, connections above the ground, and then I was going to put a mock rock well cover over it, put some, you know, mulch around it, and it just looked like a well in his yard. He doesn't want it. So we're going to put it in a meter box. So this is what we're going to bury in the ground, but I believe it's like 18 inches tall. We're going to cut it right here and shorten it. Now what I plan on doing is I had to go get these larger stay-cons. So these are for like number 6, number 8 wire. So they're going to be perfect for what we've got here. And I'm going to first slide these over the entirety of the wire, and these will be my after, okay? And then I'm going to do heat shrinks on each individual wire, and then a big heat shrink over top of that, and then another heat shrink over top of that. And then we're going to wrap it with electrical tape, and then we're going to paste it with basement sealer. So there's going to be a whole lot here going on. And then we'll pour the bottom here. I got pea gravel. We'll pour the bottom with pea gravel. We'll bring the wires up, and then we'll set the box in to where the box will have a little bit of gravel, help the water kind of dissipate. And then that way it's not sitting on the ground. And then the wires will kind of just sit up in the box, and that will be our below grade connection, but we'll still have access to it in the future if necessary. I don't have my tripod with me today, so I can't show you exactly how I'm doing what I'm doing, but this is basically kind of like in the middle of my finished product. I went ahead and I got my big heavy duty stay-cons crimped. I've got each heat shrink here, epoxy filled heat shrink tube. So once we connect them together, we'll slide them up, and we'll do the connection on each individual wire. And then I've got this that's going to go over all of them. And then I got another one down here, and we'll slide it up and do the same. So, and also what I did, took a wire brush. Let's see if I can show you. I took a wire brush to each one of these, cleaned them up real good. I twisted them, and then I dipped them in dielectric compound. And then that way it's got a little bit of extra protection. And then this is going to get crimped on the other end of these stay-cons. I've already gotten these two done. So your center is your ground. That's going to be your black wire. I just finished doing the white wire. You can kind of tell down there how the epoxy oozes out of it. Good, 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 good. Once I get that wrapped with electrical tape, then we'll slide this one over it, and we'll slide that one over it. Alright, well, we got this one pulled all the way up because my stripped area starts here. Got that pulled up, heat shrinked on. Got this all taped up here. Now I'm just kind of waiting for this to cool down, and we're going to slide this one all the way and pull it over the lip about 3/4 of an inch. So now that this is all done, it's all heated and shrunk down, as good as we can get it. I'm going to take this basement wall caulk here. We're just going to kind of smother it all over it, because this does a really good job of waterproofing, and I don't know, a little bit extra can't hurt. Okay, got it all done. Got it all kind of sealed up as best we can. I've never done this before, but yeah. Alright, so before we kind of bury this, we're going to go out to the well, hook it back up, and make sure the system runs. Alright, we're going back in the house now because we got the well all hooked up. I'm going to take my amp meter, we're going to turn the breaker on, see if the well pump pulls correct amperage. I'm going to take a quick peek in here and look. Oh no, Mike, we need the bag.
Get over there.
Yeah, just head on over there and flip the well pump breaker on, and we will see what happens. We want to see start amp 16 and run amps around 8. Perfect. Perfect. Running right at 7. Start amps was at 12 and that's at 7. Okay. You got water, boss.
Awesome.
It's been a month, but we finally got water going.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's great. Looks like we found the problem. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, we'll pop this off. I'm not going to put your switch back here.
Let me tell you.
All right, back outside we go. Let's see what we got going on over here. So all we're going to do now is lay the wire in the trench, fill that little grub and toad trench back in, and then we're going to put the box over top of our splice, fill the bottom of it in with gravel. Got our box going in, got our pea gravel down here, and I got our wire splice sitting right there. I've got dirt clod sitting on it, just kind of hold it down because that's still got a little bit of the basement sealing on it and it's trying to bow up, so I don't want it to stick to the bottom of my lid. But it looks good in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on. Okay. Start packing the dirt around it. That'll be good to go. Well, our excitement was short-lived. We were packing up, filling in the ditch. Everything was good. Pump cycled 5 times, pulling 7 amps. Everything was beautiful. And then all of a sudden, kicks the breaker. And we thought, well, maybe it's a long distance, something crazy. Put the 30 in it, the light started flickering. So we disconnected the feed that feeds the number 8 wire in the ground, and it doesn't pop the breaker. So it's almost like the number 8 wire is bad again after my splice. So I'm coming back up here to the well and look at this to make sure the wires are completely disconnected. Yes, they're completely disconnected. So if we look here, both the black and the white on the feed wire are disconnected. So yeah, well, for whatever reason, it's still tripping the breaker. We're almost at the point where the customer's just going to have to bite the bullet and put in a brand new electric line, because somehow we got lucky enough to figure out that there was a splice in the ground. What we assumed was that they bought 2 250-foot rolls of wire and pieced them together. My initial thought was, when they built that carport, they did some excavating and they hit the wire. Well, typically if you hit the wire, you rip the wire up out the ground. That means you broke it in 2 spots, or you have to at least repair it in 2 spots. You know, point A and point B. You have to bring in a new wire to put it between the 2 connections. Now we got the carport here. Here's the electric line. Here's the electric line, okay? Now we come out here, had marked it 6 inches, 3 inches deep, 6 inches deep, and right here at this mark was 10 inches deep. So it's like it transitioned, it got deeper where that splice was, and then it also gets deeper right here. So I'm wondering maybe there's a splice here too. I double checked the well. Well looks good. He's got them opened and out. So the only thing in the equation is the wire in the ground.
Okay, the breaker is off, okay?
Okay. Well, we have spent almost 9 hours here over 2 days. When we got here this morning, another guy was here, and what he does for a living is he shakes in cables. So he had the underground cable locator that was capable of measuring depth. That's how we figured out where that break was. And it was kind of cool that his device was that sensitive to tell me that there was a disturbance in the ground, and we actually found it. So I talked to the customer about possibly putting in the new electric line all the way, and he didn't like the fact that my excavator has a 1-foot bucket and it's 480 feet to the well. That's why the cable is so large for voltage drop. The guy who was there this morning has the ability to shake in cable, and he said he can shake it in any size, any depth. So he's going to talk to him about shaking in a number 8 UF gray cable all the way from the corner of the house where the panel box is, and basically run a wire up where it's junction now to the number 10, and he's going to run it in there and then shake it all the way out to the well. That will be the least amount of disturbance from for the soil in his yard. When we dug up the electric line, all the grass that we dug up was set aside for sod, and we set it over to where we could cover the ditch back and the yard would look nice. So very particular about his yard. I can respect that. But there is a lot going on out in the ground out there. We don't know where the water line is. Since the house is on a slab, we don't know really where it enters. We thought it entered on the front by the direction of the pipe. Assumably it enters in the back where the electric line is. We just don't know. So he put the pause on us for just saying go ahead and trench in a new cable. We did what we could. I feel 100% totally defeated. I hate it. I hate making out bills for customers in situations like this that I can't fix the problem. You know, it's weird. The pump cycled 5 times and then it started tripping again. And I didn't film it, but we put the 30 amp breaker back in it thinking, the 20 can't handle the distance and makes the lights flicker. And we found the junction to where the 10 meets the number 8 in the bottom of the panel box, and we disconnected that. So the wire that goes up in the attic and feeds over into the tank in the closet, we took that out of the equation, and the breaker didn't trip. So we knew that the wire that's all in the house is fine. Then we connected it back to the number 8 wire, and it tripped again. And then we disconnected the well pump. The wire's out at the well, so the only wire in the connection at that point would be the wire in the trench that we had spliced in that connection, and that's what made the breaker trip. You know, you go back and look at our connection under the green cover, the connection is fine. So my theory is when they built the carport, I had said this before in the video, that they probably hit that line in multiple spots and they repaired it in 2 different areas. But I can't sit there and dig that type of dirt with my shovel for the next 4 hours trying to find something and maybe not hit it, because at this point you're just paying money for, you know, labor and cost, and you're still making an underground repair, and he doesn't want an above ground repair. So at this point, it's what the customer wants. So that's, you know, we're at the point of you just have to put in a new cable. So if anybody's ever trying to repair an electric line under the ground, let this video be you know, a guide for you the best thing to do in situations like this, whether it got struck by lightning or what. We don't know what happened here. But what it looks like is that it was hit 20 years ago, it was repaired, and then the repair failed. But it's just odd to have two failures. So me and Dad were kind of talking, maybe it got struck by lightning and it blew it out and it just kind of exploded it, you know, because that's really what it looked like. That original splice looked like it had blown out. So thank y'all for watching. Make sure to get a video thumbs up on your way out, and I will see y'all later.